Why commercial property is a lucrative investment in 2025. I am creating a series of videos, and in this series I am going to give you the reasons. Each and every video will have one reason, so make sure you watch all the things so you understand all the different reasons that commercial property is so lucrative. Let's start. Okay, so the first reason that you need to look into why commercial property is so lucrative in 2025 is to understand that commercial property is for income and the residential property is for growth. Now, back in 2015, that's about 10 years from now, if apart from in Sydney, other places like places like Queensland, Brisbane, places like Victoria, Melbourne, or places like Adelaide and Perth, almost every places you will be able to find a positive cash flow property. So what do you mean positive cash flow? In residential sector. So in other words, if the rent is $500 per week and the price of the property is, let's say, $450,000, generally because the interest rate was little less than today, so that means it was a positive cash flow property. Fast forward today in 2025, getting a positive cash flow property is extremely difficult in residential sector. In fact, it's almost negligible to get positive cash flow property in today's interest rate in residential sector. And that is why you need to find out an alternative approach how you can make money through real estate, which is the commercial property. Now, why people do invest in commercial property is the income. But what they end up getting is income plus growth in commercial property. Let me give you an example. Let's say right now, today in 2025, a property residential sector, let's say $850,000. An $850,000 property can give you, let's say, $650 to $700 per week rent. And that is straight away, by these two parameters, you can say this is a negative gearing property, a negative cash flow property. Fast forward, similarly in commercial property, you can buy right now today around $850,000 property, and that will give you close to about $50,000 net rent. That's correct, $50,000 net rent, which is like $1,000 per week rent comparison to residential, plus it's net. It means all the expenses will be paid by the tenant. And that is how the commercial property is so lucrative, because commercial property is income plus growth and the residential property is only growth. Now, how do you get growth in a commercial property? A lot of people ask. What you get is that income bump, which means the rent that you get in commercial property, every single year the rent goes up a certain percentage, which is written in the lease, 3%, 2%, 4%, whatever, or the CPI increase. Hence, as the rent goes up, with the same yield, the property price will also goes up. So, current example, let's say you have a $1 million property, and that $1 million property is giving you a $70,000 net rent in a commercial sector, whatever be the property. Now, $1 million, $70,000, after 1 year, if that 70,000 becomes 72,000 or 73,000, which is, let's say, 3% increase, that means with 73,000, the property price has also gone up 3% with the same yield. Classic example, another example would be, let's say your rent was 100,000 and your property price was 1 million. And then the rent has gone up to 200,000, then the property price also gone up to 2 million with the same yield. So 200,000 divided by 2 million is 10%. Similarly, 100,000 rent divided by 1 million is 10%. So get the same rent, the same yield, your property price goes up, and that is how you get the growth as well with the commercial property. So to beat commercial property from the residential point of view, they have to catch up just with the growth parameter, both income and growth in commercial, which is extremely difficult, which is why in 2025 commercial property is more lucrative than residential property. This is just one reason, and which I believe, which is why we need to think that how we can move from our residential investing mindset to going to commercial property and buying more and more commercial properties. If you find this videos helpful, please do me a favor, like this video, subscribe my channel and turn the notification bell on so you get to see more videos about commercial property, and it will also help me to reach out to more people like you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.